Good morning, everyone. This is Sandeep Kumar Sahu. Welcome back to our online class of iron making. In this lecture 7, we will discuss about various profiles of blast furnace and different zones of a blast furnace. In these outlines, we will discuss about temperature, pressure, and gas composition profiles of a blast furnace. We will discuss about also ideal blast furnace and the 6 internal zones of a blast furnace. So, first of all, the temperature profile of a blast furnace. We know that the blast furnace is a counter-current reactor where continuous reduction of iron ore takes place. And metal means the pig iron, the hot metal, and the slag are tapped at regular intervals. The reduction of iron oxide is a high temperature phenomena, and the thermal requirement of the process are made by burning of coke and the enthalpy of the blast, along with the combustion of blast additives if any added. Okay. The maximum temperature is therefore generated in front of the tuyeres where the coke burns when comes in contact with the hot blast. Okay, the temperature is maybe about as high as 2000 degrees centigrade in front of the tuyeres. Okay, the temperature inside the blast furnace decreases on either side of the tuyeres. If we go from the tuyer to the top, then also the temperature decreases 16, 12, 1100, 950, 700, 300, 200. From the bottom also, if you go towards the bottom also, it is 1600, 1550, 15, 1450. So the temperature decreases from if we go from tuyer to top or from the bottom. Either side the temperature decreases. At the top, the exhaust gas temperature is about 200 degrees centigrade, and in the hearth region, the metal slag region, the temperature is in the range of 300 to 300, 1300 to 1500 degrees centigrade. Okay. The figure shows the graphical representation of variation of temperature along the vertical axis of a blast furnace. It is evident from the figure that the temperature lines or the isotherms are in the shape of V, inverted V. Okay, like the inverted V. It indicates that the temperature not only varies along the vertical axis but also uh, but also in the radial direction. Okay, but also in the radial direction also. So the temperature isotherms are not horizontal. The temperature rises from the periphery. The temperature rises from the periphery and reaches maximum at the center. Okay, at the center it is maximum from the it increases from the periphery to the center. Okay, for a given horizontal plane. When we are talking about variation of temperature along the vertical axis, the profile shows a vertical line in the stack region. In the figure 2, the vertical line is here. Okay, here it is a vertical line. Okay. So at the tuyer level, the temperature is high enough, that is about 2000 degrees centigrade. This is the tuyer level. At the top level, it is about 200 degrees centigrade. Okay. On the bottom level, that may be 13 to 1500 degrees centigrade. Okay, 1500 degrees centigrade. Okay. As we go from tuyer to top, then also temperature decreases and also goes to the down, then also temperature decreases. Okay. Between the in the stack region, there is a straight line, means the vertical line. That means with height, the temperature is constant. Okay. With the height change in height of the blast furnace, the temperature is constant. In other words, we can say that there is no variation of temperature. Okay, which is called your thermal reserve zone. Thermal reserve zone. We will discuss it later on in this lecture also. Okay, let's discuss about the pressure profile. The pressure profile along the vertical axis of a blast furnace is smooth, unlike the temperature profile. Okay. Turbo blowers are generally used for your production of pressurized blast. Okay, so that the blast enters into the tuer area where the pressure is maximum, and this gas flows to the top. Okay, the charge within a blast furnace offers resistance to the gas flow. This causes a pressure drop in the vertical direction from the raceway to the top of the that means the stock line. Okay. Therefore, the capacity of these turbo blowers should be sufficient enough to counter these pressure drops. And then what is this pressure drop actually? If we consider the pressure at tuer level to be P1, if it is the tuer level, if it is the P1 the pressure level at the tuer level, and at the stock line the output pressure of the gas is P2, then the del P, that means the difference between the pressure, okay, is called your pressure drop. Okay, increasing the inlet pressure to a large extent to counter this pressure drop may not be beneficial always. Okay, so proper aerodynamic of the blast furnace should be maintained inside a blast furnace for higher productivity. What is aerodynamic of the blast furnace? Aerodynamic defines the gas distribution in the bed. Okay, blast furnace is a packed bed or the fixed bed reactor, and gas passes through the pores or the voids of the bed of the raw materials, and the resistance offered by this bed leads to pressure drops. Therefore, bed permeability, in fact, the uniform bed permeability of the burden plays a key role. Okay, bed permeability plays a key role in the maintaining the aerodynamic of the blast furnace, or the in turn it is its productivity also. Okay, as a metallurgist, we should target to achieve the higher productivity. If we want to produce more, blast furnace aerodynamic becomes more important. Okay. Productivity. What is productivity? Productivity can be defined in terms of coke consumption, like P is equal to Q by K, where Q is the coke throughput. Okay, coke means amount of coke burnt per unit time. It is generally expressed in terms of kg per hour. Okay, kg per hour, and K means the coke rate, which indicates the coke consumption per ton of hot metal, means how much amount of coke is used to produce 1 ton of pig iron. Okay, that is in terms of kg per ton hot metal. Then the productivity will be in the term of ton per hot metal per hour. Okay, so we can increase the productivity either by increasing the coke throughput or decreasing the coke rate. Okay, either decreasing the coke rate, we can increase the productivity. Okay, if K decreases, then P increases. If Q increases, then P increases. So if we want to increase the productivity by lowering the coke rate, uh, it requires better utilization of the thermal and chemical potential of the gas, means the outgoing gas. Okay, which in turn demands the more uniform bed permeability. Okay, so we have mentioned that bed permeability is an important factor. So if we want to decrease the K, then also bed permeability should be uniform. Okay, if with a fixed coke rate, if you want to increase the productivity, then we need to go for higher coke throughput, means higher Q, higher Q. Okay, if you go for higher Q, then we have to increase the blast throughput in the blast furnace for combustion of that coke. Okay, increasing the blast throughput. Okay, means that means the pressure, so it will increase the pressure drop. Okay, so we have to maintain the bed permeability, means uniform bed permeability should be maintained. Otherwise, what will happen? different type of irregularity, like your channeling. What is channeling? Channeling means preferential flow of gas. That means through channels, it will form channels. Okay, inside the blast furnace. Okay, or flooding. That means flooding or hanging. That means the gas will take some amount of liquid from the bottom to the top. So these are the irregularity. We will discuss them later. So if we don't maintain the bed permeability, then or without maintaining the bed permeability, if we go for higher coke throughput, then this type of irregularity may occur. So we can conclude that bed permeability is the key in case of aerodynamic in the blast furnace. Next, let's discuss about gas composition profile inside a blast furnace. Okay. Variation in gas composition is observed in vertical direction as well as horizontal direction, as we have discussed. Okay, horizontal non-uniformity may be attributed to non-uniform gas flow through the burden. Why there is non-uniform gas flow inside the burden? We know that there is differences in density of raw materials. What are the raw material? Raw material are iron ore, iron oxides, coke, and some amount of flux may be there. Okay, so the raw material have different densities. Iron ore have different density, coke has less. Okay, and also there is also different size range of this iron ore and coke and your dolomite or limestone. Okay, so the permeability of the horizontal plane may vary from center to periphery. Also during the charging also there may be segregation. There may be segregation, or there are much chances of segregation during the course of charging. Any type of charging you go for. Okay, due to this segregation also the bed permeability also varies. So the horizontal for a particular horizontal plane, the permeability from the center to periphery may vary. Okay, so there is non-uniformity in the gas flow. Okay, gas composition also. Okay, in this figure, variation in gas composition along the vertical axis is shown, where oxygen by carbon means O by C ratio, O by C ratio in the gas. Okay, is almost 1 at the Bose region. Okay, at the Bose region, here it may be the Bose region, it is about 1. Okay, so this is your gas composition. Okay, dotted line, it is your gas composition. So it is about 1 in the Bose region. That means what? O by C ratio 1 means 100% CO is there. Maximum CO is there, means 100% CO is there. And when we go or towards the top, means upward, if we go, then CO is continuously utilized in the reduction of iron oxides, and O by C ratio goes on increasing. Okay, it goes on increasing from 1 to 1.3, below 1.6. Okay, 1. There may be 1.5. Okay, it goes on increasing, and minimum carbon monoxide level at the exit gas. At the top, the CO percentage will be very less as compared to that of the Bose region. 100% CO was there, but here only 20%, maybe 20% CO will be there. There is a region in between that. Okay, there is a region where the line is somewhat vertical. Okay, here the line is somewhat vertical. That means the carbon monoxide level doesn't change. Okay. This region may be called as chemical reserve zone. In this region, the iron oxide, that means FeO, and carbon monoxide, the gas, are in equilibrium. So there is no chemical reaction taking place. So depending on the temperature, gas composition, and pressure, there are several zones inside the blast furnace. Okay, we will discuss about different zones in a blast furnace, in an ideal blast furnace and in a practical blast furnace. Okay, let's discuss. So what is ideal blast furnace? It is helpful for easy understanding of some gross features and quantitative analysis. In this ideal blast furnace concept, radial variations are ignored. We have studied that there are radial variations in case of temperature and pressure and your gas composition profiles, but for simplicity, here these are ignored. Okay. Some salient features of an ideal blast furnace are given here. First is your three zones. It consists of three zones. One is your preheating zone. Okay, preheating zone. Another is your middle zone is your thermal reserve zone and chemical reserve zone. Chemical reserve zone is a part of thermal reserve zone. Okay, so that is the zone in middle zone, and the bottom zone is your direct reduction and melting zone. In this figure, y-axis represents the blast furnace height, distance from the tuer. Blast furnace height, distance from the tuer. It is the tuer, and this is the top, the stroke line. Okay, this is the stroke line. And x-axis represents the temperature. Okay, the solid line represents the temperature of solid, and the dashed line temperature of the gas. This is the solid temperature of the solid, and this is the gas. Okay, dotted line is your gas. In the top part of the stack, we can see the preheating zone. This portion is your preheating zone. Okay, preheating zone where the reduction of iron oxide are taking place. Okay, step by step. Okay, and that the temperature of both the solid and gas increases towards the bottom. That means towards the thermal reserve zone, the gas temperature and the solid temperature goes on increasing. At the top, the temperature is lower, but it increases to the middle of the stack. Okay, both the temperature increases. But this vertically straight portion indicates the thermal reserve zone, or the thermal reserve zone where temperature is almost constant. Okay. After that, the thermal reserve zone starts. So this is your thermal reserve zone where, with variation of your height of the blast furnace, there is no change in temperature. Okay. Temperature is constant. Okay. The out of this TRZ, that means the thermal reserve zone, the top part, a small top part. Okay, this one is your small top part. This is called your chemical inactive zone or chemical reserve zone. Okay, chemical reserve zone. That means chemical reserve zone is a part of thermal reserve zone. Yes, in chemical reserve zone, the gas phase has a constant composition, and iron, FeO, and gas equilibrium is attained in this zone. Okay. Next part, that means a few meters above the tuers. Few meters means the nearest to tuer. The next part is your direct reduction and melting zone, where except coke, all other raw materials start to melt and temperature increases up to the tuers. In this region, reduction mainly taking place by carbon. That's why it is called a direct reduction. It is also seen from the figure that the dotted line is always right. The dotted line is always right to the solid line. That means the gas has higher temperature than that of the solid, which leads to, okay, gas solid heat transfer. Gas to solid, gas to solid heat transfer. So these are the salient features of your ideal blast furnace. Okay. So in detail, the thermal reserve zone, we can see, we have discussed already that heat transfers from the gas to solid. That means the gas is at higher temperature and solid is at low temperature. So temperature the transfer of heat occurs from gas to solid. Okay, in the ideal blast furnace. Okay, therefore the heat content, that is the enthalpy of the gas, continuously decreases from the tuyeres to the stock line. From the tuyeres, okay, this is the stock line. Okay, enthalpy decreasing. Okay, enthalpy decreasing. So this line is your for gas. Okay, when it comes from the tuyere to the stock line, the temperature decreases. Okay, as an approximation, the heat capacity of the gas may be assumed to be constant and independent of the temperature. So we will go for the enthalpy versus temperature plot. Along the height of the blast furnace, that is from the tuyere to stock line, it gives a straight line. Okay, that is your AF or ARF. In between that R point is that, it will give you ARF. It has been estimated that the heat capacity of the solid, that means that of the raw materials, is lower than the gas in the upper part of the stack. It has been estimated. Okay, blast of a blast furnace. Okay, the heat capacity of solid. Okay, heat capacity of solid, that means the raw materials, is lower than that of the gas at the top of the blast furnace. Okay, and on the other hand, in the bottom part of the blast furnace or lower part of the blast furnace, that means in the Bose region, because you have taken the height from tuyere to stock line. So near the tuyere region, okay, solid has hypothetically large heat capacity. Why it is so? At the top it has low heat capacity, at the bottom it has higher heat capacity. At the bottom it has higher capacity because highly endothermic Bourgeois reaction occurs. Highly endothermic Bourgeois reaction occurs. What is Bourgeois reaction? That is carbon dioxide plus carbon gives rise to two carbon monoxides. Okay, so that is highly endothermic, and that occurs at the bottom part, means the Bose part of the blast furnace. Okay, and also endothermic step, that is fusion of solid takes place. That is also endothermic reaction, fusion of solids, because if we are talking about the heat capacity, then when we are going for adding heat to a solid, during melting, it absorbs heat, but the temperature doesn't increase. It melts, phase change takes place. That is called your latent heat of fusion. Okay, so it is endothermic step. So due to this, the solid has hypothetically large heat capacity at the bottom. Okay. So graphically, the solid enthalpy variation can be represented as shown in the figure simply by two lines, that is SR and RO. Okay. This diagram is called your Richards diagram. In case of blast furnace, this is also valid. Okay. Temperature profile in a blast furnace also exhibits this type of behavior. A thermal reserve zone where the heat capacity of the both, that means the solid and the gas, on an average are taken to be approximately equal. As per the relationship of enthalpy and heat capacity, we can say that gas solid thermal equilibrium is attained in between these TRZ, that means the thermal reserve zone. In case of your Richard diagram, there was a point that was R, but here in case of your blast furnace, that is a range, that means some height of the blast furnace, there is the temperature is constant. Constant. That means there is no transfer of heat from gas to solid. Okay, both are in equilibrium. So this is called a thermal reserve zone, and this thermal reserve zone is about 900 to 150 1050 degree centigrade, and about 1 to 4 meter of height. This height may be of 1 to 4 meter, and the temperature is near about 1000 degree centigrade. Okay, in case of ideal blast furnace. Okay, till now we have discussing about ideal blast furnace, that is the hypothetical blast furnace. But what actually happens inside a blast furnace in real practice? Sectioning study of a quenched blast furnace gives valuable insights of existence of various internal zones of a blast furnace. For this type of study, an experimental blast furnace is quenched, that may be with water, and sectioned vertically, and samples are analyzed, which are collected from different parts of that quenched blast furnace. Okay, so that gives much idea about your zones. Okay, after vast studies, it is also now accepted that a blast furnace has six internal zones. Six internal zones. If we come from the top to bottom of a blast furnace, then we come across first your granular zone, then your cohesive zone, then active coke zone, and at the two-year region there will be stagnant coke zone and two-year zone. Okay, then at the bottom there will be the hearth zone where everything is liquid. So, and the here the arrows are giving the flow directions, gas flow directions. Okay, so first of all we will discuss about the granular zone. Right at the top of the blast furnace, the granular zone is found. Okay, this zone contains solid coke, iron bearing materials along with small quantities of limestone or any other fluxes. We can see the alternative layers of iron ore and coke, okay, in the granular zone. It is due to the charging sequence inside a blast furnace. Uh, During charging, alternative layers of coke and ore are charged, so there will be alternative layers of ore and coke in the burden. Iron oxides get reduced in this region to their respective lower oxides or metallic iron towards the lower end of this granular zone, means near the cohesive zone. Okay. Next comes the cohesive zone, which is also called as the Musi zone. Musi, okay, Musi zone. As the burden descends, its temperature rises as it comes in contact with the hotter ascending gases. Softening and melting of the iron-bearing solids takes place. In turn, permeability decreases. Okay, permeability of the cohesive zone is lower than that of the granular zone. Okay, due to presence of alternative layers of ore and coke, solid coke slits allow the ascending gases to pass through this zone to the granular zone. Okay, so it in case of your granular zone, it is straight lines, means the straight arrows to the top. That means gas goes straight to the top. But in case of your cohesive zone, it passes through the coke slits only. It cannot pass through the iron and flux layer because the fusion means softening has been started. So the permeability has come down. So this alternative layers of coke and ore helps in case of your cohesive zone for passage of your gases. Okay. So due to fusion, the slag formed here contains large amount of Fu. Therefore, it has a low melting point. It is known as the primary slag. Cohesive zone slag is called your primary slag. It is viscous one. Okay, this is your primary slag. Below the cohesive zone, okay, below the cohesive zone, Active coke zone and dead man zone. Active coke zone, this one is your active coke zone. Okay, this is this white portion is your active coke zone, and below that it is your cohesive, sorry, stagnant coke zone. Okay, these two zones are responsible for reduction of FeO. Okay, therefore the FeO content of this slag that trickles down from the cohesive zone, that slag is called your primary slag, and then after when it trickles down from the uh, uh, coke layers, the FeO content decreases. Okay, and also due to high temperature, CO and MgO joins the slag phase and increases its basicity. Okay, the stagnant coke zone, due to this its basicity increases. This is called your Bose slag. Okay, higher basicity in the Bose slag is there due to CO and MgO. Okay, the stagnant coke zone, the bottom coke zone, that is your stagnant, that is the stagnant coke zone, is also called your dead man zone. As the name suggests, these cokes doesn't burn because the hot air blast is unable to penetrate through the center of the blast furnace. Okay, the air that has been given through the tuyeres will not go to the center of the blast furnace. So the center part of the coke will not burn. That will be there in the shape of a inverted V. Okay, that is called your stagnant coke zone. We have also seen the isotherms in case of your temperature profile of a blast furnace in this inverted V shape. Okay. Here the coke column either floats on the liquid iron, the liquid metal, it may be floating in the hearth region or reaches as far as the hearth floor. It can go to the bottom of the hearth also. Sometimes it comes out with the metal and slag during the tapping. Okay. Then comes your tuyer zone. Coke is the only material of the blast furnace charge which descends to the tuyer level in the solid state. The only material in the solid state. Okay. It burns with air in front of the tuyers in a 1 to 2 meter deep raceway. This is your raceway. This may be 1 to 2 meter raceway. Okay. During combustion, coke pieces swirl around before they get gasified, and then fresh pieces descend to take their places. Where does these fresh pieces come from? That comes from the active coke zone. Okay, the temperature is highest out of this zone of blast furnace. The continuous consumption of coke and the consequent creation of an empty space permit the downward flow of the charged material. Because the coke burns and produces ash, the volume decreases, and this volume will be compensated by the top charged material. Okay, so the burden descends. The combustion zone is in the form of a pear shape called the raceway, which the hot gases rotate at high speed carrying small amount of burning coke in suspension. In this raceway, pear-shaped raceway, there are burning cokes which swirls inside the raceway till it is converted to ash. Okay, and the temperature of this region is called your raceway adiabatic flame temperature, or in short, it can be called as RAFT. Okay, in short, it can be called as RAFT, raceway adiabatic flame temperature. This is the highest temperature. Inside a blast furnace, the available temperatures, this is the highest temperature. There is temperature gradient in vertical direction on either side of the zones. Okay, this temperature is critically related to the hearth temperature. It is also equally related to the top gas temperature, such that the hot raceway gases uh, have uh, have to impart their heat to the descending burn to the extent expected and leave the furnace as of gases at the desired temperature, means as low temperature as possible. It is about 200 degrees centigrade at the top, and top it is about 200 centigrade, 200 degrees centigrade. Okay, so if we maintain the raft, then the slag metal temperature will also be maintained. If the temperature changes, then also your slag composition changes. Means metal composition also changes. That means the amount of silicon or amount of manganese. Then that means the total chemistry will change depending upon this ratio adiabatic flame temperature. This is all about today's class. Okay. If anyone has any doubt, they can ask. Thank you.